South Africa has held round-table discussions at the business-to-business engagement with a delegation from Finland and the Presidential Business Roundtable today in Pretoria. What exactly can South Africa gain from such a partnership with Finland, whose President Sauli Niinistö is on a two-day visit to our shores? For that, we're joined by Stavros Nicolaou, Aspen's Senior Executive Strategic Trade Executive, who participated and facilitated discussions during today's roundtable. Thank you very much for your time, Stavros. Let's start here. At today's Finland Business Roundtable, President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke about South Africa's economy needing further investment in transport and logistics, ICT, and other productive services, and he's pointed to Finland for some of these as a country with a large ICT ecosystem. How did the negotiations or discussions talk about that, and what was the outcome?
Firstly, thanks very much for having me on the program. Today's discussions, I think, were immensely encouraging. I think we've got to see this in the context of one of many state visits to South Africa. So it obviously means that South Africa still, in global diplomatic terms, still enjoys a strong currency, and the visit by the Finnish president, who Finland are a very small country but have a significant R&D and innovation capability. And what was particularly important today in the round table when we engaged with the president, it was a very small round table incidentally, so we had time to engage quite freely. The president of Finland made the point that South Africa is Finland's most important partner, and they see it as the most important economy on the African continent. And for me, that was very meaningful. Now, what exactly does that mean in rands and cents, because that's what counts here? Firstly, in the room were represented 5 key sectors. These are all sectors bilaterally that we see strong synergies and or complementarity with, including energy, ICT, pharmaceuticals. Of course, I was there as an Aspen representative and led the business delegation. There was agri in the room, and I shouldn't forget that an important sector as well that the Finns bought was a low-cost housing solution, a very innovative solution. So those were largely the areas that were covered in the conversations, and underpinning all of that is Finland's commitment to double its trade with Africa by 2030. Now, if they see us as the most important economy on the continent and a gateway into Africa, and they want to double their trade by 2030, that presents significant opportunity, I'd like to believe, for our country. And lastly, it was also interesting that one of the Finnish companies that committed an investment last year at the President's 4th edition of his investment conference were also in the room, and they are in the process, they've commenced in executing that investment. And the signals there were that, of course, with careful bilateral sectorial engagement, we can build on those investment opportunities.
Stavros, South Africa imported at least to the tune of just over 9 billion rand in value in 2022 with Finland, and South Africa, of course, has got a massive resources sector as well. President Ramaphosa added that such partnership in mining and the resources sector must, however, add value to the country's raw materials and manufacture more machinery locally. Did you find that the Finnish delegation was amenable to that, as South Africa has, as we know, been talking about beneficiation when it comes to the resources sector?
Preceding the presidential summit, which lasted about 90 minutes, was a business forum. And we engaged quite freely as South Africans with the Deputy Minister of Economic Development of Finland. And a particular focus was how we collaborate to establish technology transfers, innovation and R&D, and an acknowledgement that we are running a trade deficit, incidentally, with Finland. And that part of the way we can bridge that trade deficit is through added value, or what we would call more high-tech manufacturing, as opposed to just exporting raw materials. Because one of the biggest exports last year was actually coal to Finland, from South Africa to Finland. So an acknowledgement by no one less than the Economic Development Deputy Minister that we need to look at more added value manufacturing and growing our exports out of South Africa to that country. So a focus on growing exports, bridging a trade deficit, but also looking to see how we can attract investment on both sides. Now, Aspen has a distribution platform in Finland. We supply some very important anesthetic products. We are looking to expand our range of products there, and hopefully in time, some of the products that we produce in South Africa, pharmaceutical products, from Aspen will be exported into Finland, and we will continue growing our range of products there, and of course also providing to improve the quality of life and saving lives for patients in Finland.
Stavros, thank you very much for your time. Stavros Nicolaou, of course, he is the Aspen's strategic executive when it comes to trade, and he attended that business forum between South Africa and the Finnish delegation, of course, with the President of Finland, Sauli Niinistö, actually visiting our shores to expand trade in the country. What is also important to note is that President Cyril Ramaphosa has been unequivocal in saying that the European bloc has been actually having protectionism when it comes to South African citrus products, and that has to, of course, come to an end if these relations are going to continue to be beneficial for both parties.